Hello. Once again I come before you as a representative of the Illuminati. You may call me the Man. Well, this week's topic comes to us from the swamp, and you guys know what I'm talking about when I say the swamp, right? We're not talking about the one in Florida. No, we're not talking about the Everglades. No, we're talking about Washington, D.C. We're going to go drain the swamp. That's what everybody says when they get there, right? They want to go there. We're going to drain that swamp. Of course, once they get there, they never drain anything. They just keep on adding alligators and crocodiles and snakes and stuff to it. It gets bigger and bigger. And of course, that's understandable. It's part of the political ecosystem there, you know, and that's what they feed on. That's how they get their money and their power. And anyway, so I'm getting off topic here. What we're talking about specifically today is the Robert Mueller investigation and report and testimony. Why is it Mueller? Why isn't it Mueller? M-U-E-L-L-E-R. That's how it's spelled, right? Mueller? Anyway, it wasn't Ferris Bueller's day off. It was Ferris Bueller's day off. I mean, it's Bueller. It's funnier. It's Bueller. Remember that in the movie? Bowler. That wouldn't have worked. Distracted again. Okay, yes, the report. It was massive. It was huge. It was 700 pages, and I've got my copy here. Have you read it? Have you read your copy of the report into the 2016 campaign and Russian interference and what the Trump campaign may have known? Have you? No, you haven't. Well, you're not alone, and I'm not sending you mine. The cost for shipping would have been prohibitive. No, the people who asked him questions during his testimony apparently hadn't read it either, because they kept asking about things that weren't in the report. They were asking about things that fell outside the report, and quite frankly, all Robert Mueller ever did was just testify about the report. He was like the report became flesh and sat there and answered your questions about itself, but answered absolutely no questions outside of that. I mean, it was quite a waste of time. All you had to do was read. Anyway, yeah, so I highly recommend it, by the way. It's a fascinating look into the behind-the-scenes world of campaign, and of course how the way Washington works and all this kind of stuff. And it's online. Just wade through it a few pages at a time, and you'll notice a few things. One, some people probably should be in jail, and that's just all there is to it. They should be. That led to several indictments, and so, you know, a little bit of the corruption got wiped up, a little bit of it, just a little. You know, there's still plenty more. You know, if anybody's interested in looking into it, there's plenty to keep you busy for, I don't know, the rest of your life. That's just the way the corruption works in any government system. There's always going to be corruption. So yeah, that's just the way it works. But anyway, yeah, so it was beneficial in a scale where it got rid of some of the corruption. And if you read through the thing, you'll find out just about, you know, how all of these little backdoor deals work, and who has meetings with whom, and how you make connections, and what back channels are, and everything else. And you'll find also there's a lot of it that's redacted, a lot of black pages. And that's kind of our fault, because that's part of the special Mueller report, the one that we asked him to do while he was investigating the others. I got a copy of that too. It's right here. It's a lot smaller. It's all those redacted pages. It's a few things that weren't even in the report, because only we should be seeing those things. You know, if the vast majority of the people in this country saw what was here, they may panic. It basically details the president's special condition and the effects of that condition that may have been on an international or global scale, and what was done in order to contain that condition. You guys know about the condition, right? I mean, if you're a long-time viewer of this channel, you know about the condition. But okay, for the new people, all right, a summary. My good friend Donnie Trump ran for president at our behest, and created a character named Donald J. Trump, a populist, loudmouth, you know, shoot from the hip, say anything kind of guy. We were kind of interested in whether or not populism would have a hold in the United States as it has in the past, or had we as a nation outgrown it. And it turns out it holds pretty good. It really does. Yeah, it holds really well. Well, on top of all of that, Donnie has been a long-time host to an alien ambassador of the Vril dogs, a hair-based people, a species made entirely of hair, and that he's hosted it on his head for, oh, I mean, years and years and years. And yeah, it was worked out very well. It's been a very good coupling as far as we're concerned. The Vril dogs have learned a lot about us. We've learned a lot about them, and you know, it's so far it's worked out okay. Until, of course, there was an accident on the golf course in Mar-a-Lago where a golf ball popped him in the head and caused brain damage to the ambassador. And then suddenly the character Donald J. Trump became real. Donnie was no longer there. He had become the thing he was pretending to be up to that point. And so, yeah, since then, we've been in an active mode of trying to contain him. Now, we can't move directly against him, right? We have treaties with the Vril docs. You do not want a war with the Vril docs, okay? It comes down to entanglement. I mean, it's just, it gets into everything. You know how bad it is when you go to the beach and you get sand on your feet and stuff, and then you think, yeah, I've washed my feet off, but then like a week later, you're still finding sand in places. Places you're showing up with sand. It's like that, except with hair, and it gets in everything. I've seen it shut down entire solar systems. In documentaries given to us by the Anunnaki, but yeah, I mean, not personally. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, they're dangerous, and so we can't move directly against the president. We can contain. We can say, you know, influence here, influence there. We can cover some things that, you know, some incidences, some insults, some unthought comment. Yeah, we can do all kinds of stuff like that, and so far we've done pretty well, and that's what this report is. Various incidences and their remedies and things that could have had an international consequence but didn't, thanks to us. And yeah, that's the redacted stuff. That's what you're missing in that report. I bet you'd really like to read this report, wouldn't you? I mean, I bet you really would. We can't let this stuff get out, and you know what? There's not that many people who watch this channel. No big deal. You come here for the behind-the-scenes stuff, right? I can't let you read the report, but I can give you kind of an idea what's in it. Okay, so just a few samplings. All right, like right here, November 30th, 2017. President Trump called the Crown Prince of Bahrain no roots. That's a big insult amongst hair-based people like the Vril docs. To call someone no roots, it means that you're shifty, you got no security, you're lazy. It's a big insult, okay? And if you ever seen the Crown Prince of Bahrain, you know he's missing some stuff up here, and he keeps really short. It triggered an insult. That's all. No roots. Fortunately, the Crown Prince of Bahrain, who speaks English very well, by the way, has no idea what the guy was talking about. So fortunately, it slipped right over his head. A little joke right there. No offense intended. Anyway, yeah. So that was November. June 30th, 2017. President Erdogan of Turkey, President Trump said he was the president of the bird nation. Now, Donald Trump knows how to say Turkey. He said Turkey many, many times, but in that moment, it didn't, you know, it didn't click, and so the best he can come up with was bird nation. That was fixed by the translator. No fallout from that. You know, still cooperation about the Syrians and everything. Everything worked out there. Let's see. Moving on to sometimes they get a little off color. I apologize in advance. August 28, 2017, he called former Secretary of State, then current Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, eyebrows. He called him eyebrows, and yeah, created a nickname for him. And then he wanted to know if he had ever had a brow lift, which is something sexual. It's some sort of innuendo amongst the Vril docs. We've been told that later. Yeah, there's actually a lot of sexual innuendo in here. Apparently getting brain damaged by a golf ball makes the Vril docs horny. Who knew? Cranks up those hormones. For instance, October 11th, 2017, Sophia Gregoire Trudeau, First Lady of Canada, he told her, once you go hair, that's all you'll bear. I don't even know what that means. How do you go hair? I don't know. Anyway, it's that actually led to the disillusionment of NAFTA. But we kind of smoothed things out after that. Anyway, so hey, we just wanted to make sure that we hadn't missed anything, that along the future down the line, there's not going to be a global problem because we had missed an incident, you know, containment. Because it's kind of hard to contain somebody. I don't know if you noticed that or not. And it's not just us doing it, fortunately. Everybody's working together in the White House to make sure things are contained. The structures of government are sound, okay, and they're strong. The limitations on the office of the president, they're still there, and so everything's working well that way. And of course, we're working with both political parties, the Republicans and Democrats, to contain. Of course, they have their own way of working with us. Yeah, that's, you know, a lot of air quotes in this one. Yeah, so when you deal with a Republican Party with a Democratic Party, what you're dealing with is tribalism. That's basically what you're dealing with. You know, the best thing to do would be to legally move Donald J. Trump, the character, out of the White House, okay? Because it's not a place that you want somebody who's not well thought through and who, you know, actually thinks before he says stuff. No. You want people who are well measured and considered in that office. And so the thing is, of course, how they're going to do that, both parties disagree on. Now, the Democrats want immediate impeachment, right? They want him out there like right now, boom, gone. The Republicans, of course, don't want that because it would be damaging to their party. And they both have a point. I mean, the goal is to either contain him or move him out, long term move him out. I mean, unfortunately, he's only got 8 years at the most that he can, like, run wild in the White House. So yeah, that's one way you could do it. You just let the terms expire. Second way, go impeachment. Third, of course, he just loses the election coming up in a couple of years. Wow, it's not a couple of years, it's next year. Oh my goodness, time flies. Anyway, so yeah, they have various ways of doing things. Now, the Republicans don't want another impeachment situation again, almost impeachment deal. They did that back in the 70s, you know, and Richard Nixon was not a crook. Except kind of, yeah, he was. And so they don't want to do that again. They're tired of that. And of course, you know, the Democrats do want that to happen because they think it'll strengthen their party. And that's what they're focused on. They're not really focused on the nation as a whole, except in a certain roundabout kind of way. You have to remember, these guys are patriots. These are guys who have volunteered and run for office, so you don't have to make these decisions. You elected somebody else who's going to do it for you. It's a representative democracy, right? So you just pick somebody, and then they go off to Hollywood and Washington, D.C., and Paris, and all these other places. And so they go and they meet with people, and they talk to people, and they lobby, and they get lobbied, and then they make laws. So you don't have to do it. I mean, who wants to do that? It's a pain in the butt. So let these guys do it, right? That's what most of us think anyway. We have lives we have to live. So, you know, that's they're patriots. That's what they are. They're trying to make their country better. The problem is, of course, is when you're kind of blinded by your party, you start to associate what's best for the party with what's best for the country. You know, it's best for the country if Republicans are in charge to Republicans. It's best for the country if Democrats are in charge for the Democrats. And so you do what's best for that particular party, thinking it's best for the entire nation overall, and it may not be. It just may not. It may not be best for America if this particular Republican agenda goes through or that particular Democratic agenda goes through. They're not looking at it from an overall kind of thing like we in the Illuminati do, and like most people in the United States do. The independents, they sit down, they weigh things, and they're like, well, I want to go this on this, I want to go a little left, I want to go a little right. You know, on your side it's probably flipped the other way, but you know, this is my left, this is my right. So you would go left and right, that kind of thing. You're not committed to any ideal far position. And they are. They're like, you know, this is it. This is our platform. This is who we're going to be. This is it. And it's best for America. So when I say help, I mean help. They've been helpful. Just not in the way that we would like many times. But we still haven't missed it. Listen, you know, we've done a good job. That's one of the things I wanted to come here and tell you. You don't get a lot of good news in the media, right? All you hear is about the bad stuff and horrible things happening there, and that person over there said this to this person and everything. And some media is just gossip. That's just all it is. You know, somebody claps back at that. What does that even mean, claps back? Did they do this? Did they stand there and do that? Is that news when they clap? Anyway, yeah, once again, distracted. The video's gone on long enough. The man, let's wrap it up. So yeah, good news. That's what I was trying to say. There is good stuff happening. We have a whole report of every kind of time that we have just set things down, and we kept international incidences from happening, and the world has kept on turning. Yay! That's good stuff, right? It's always good to have good news. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something else. The world's actually in better shape now than it has been in a long time. Poverty is at record lows throughout the history of mankind. Probably didn't know that, did you? No, no, no. Everybody's talking about this economic situation, that economic situation. Dwell on little pieces of poverty here and poverty there and everything else. But overall, humanity has come up a little bit. And that's awesome. That's just fantastic. There's 7 billion of us on this planet. And we're all in better shape than we were 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's amazing. You're not going to hear that in the mainstream media. And why should you? I mean, they've only got a limited amount of time, 24 hours in a day. They got to hit the same stuff over and over again, depending upon who owns the channel. So, you know, they're not going to spend all that time telling you all the good stuff that happens. But there's so much good stuff happening. You guys who are watching this, you're doing so much good stuff. You really are, that nobody notices. It's the stuff in the background that keeps everything working and making it better. People helping out other people, people doing situations over here, people trying to protect the rainforest, you know, all these kind of things. They're all happening together. And it's fantastic. The whole world keeps spinning, we keep growing, and we keep improving. And that's what we in the Illuminati are all about. It may sound bad to you, and there's some bad stuff that's happening out there. I mean, you might be going through something right now yourself personally. It's a bad time. And, you know, we're pulling for you. You know, if things are good overall for most people, it's good for us because that's all we ought to do. Specifically, you guys, the people who watch this, we're pulling for you. You've taken the time to reach out sometimes to say, hey, what's going on in the world? What's happening? I need to know the truth. And the truth is, overall, things are so much better right now. Didn't say it'll always be that way, but I think we as a species, we're going to keep growing. We're going to keep expanding. We're going to keep getting better until we can finally embrace our destiny amongst the stars. And that's the goal of us in the Illuminati. It really is. I'm not saying there are not any bad things. There are horrible things in the world. There are terrible, heartbreaking, horrible instances in the world that are they're too easy to dwell on. And you get into kind of a fear porn situation, you know, tragedy porn. That's what these news programs are selling us, is wallowing in the depths of humanity and how bad we can be. That can be depressing, depending upon what you look at. So I can understand why most people think that things are not all that great. But all you got to do is just turn your eyes just a little bit. Just change your view just a little bit. And you see those red flags on a white background kind of thing. They're really easy to see, right? These little incidences, they're bright red and they just grab your attention. And that white background, well, that kind of blends into the background. You don't even think about that. The white background is the majority of the stuff that's happening. And these little bitty red flags, while they're easy to focus on, well, they're just small little incidences. They're tiny little blips in the overall background. They get swallowed up by all the goodness that's going on. Even in response to the little red things, there's so much goodness that happens around those. We're working on the red stuff. We really are. Everybody I know is working on it. You can work on it, actually. You can be the best person you can be. Don't give in to your darker natures. Somebody wants to argue with you, don't argue. You can express your point of view or whatever. There's no need to get mad. Somebody has another opinion than you do. Just try to find a way where you can find common ground. That's all you can do. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Just move on. The internet's rife with people who like to complain, who like to focus, who like to come back and hit and hit and hit again. Because, you know, it's easy to do. You can do it almost anonymously. So yeah, there's plenty of that going on. But you know, I'm really getting far afield here. The good news is, overall, we're doing great. And you are part of the solution. So that's fantastic too. You can be a bigger part of the solution. You can help us out by doing a couple of things. You can like the video and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you'd like to hear about, what kind of topic. I know somebody mentioned the Area 51 invasion plan. Was that ours? No, that wasn't ours. That was a lone person up in his own room. Now, we did spread it. All right, we did. Okay, we didn't come up with it, but we did spread it because we thought it was funny. That was just, you know, kind of a side thing. We were just, sometimes we like to amuse ourselves too. We want to see how far a meme will go, you know. We want to see, and it's kind of, then we can add something else to the meme at some other point and see if we can spread it that way. You know, it's part of getting the overall message out. You know, this video is never going to end. Let me just say this. We didn't do the Area 51 thing, but I'd be happy to explain how we do spread things at some point in the future if that's what you'd like. You can leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you'd like to hear about. And of course, you know, Another thing you could do for us, when you come outside your house, in your apartment, your tent, wherever you happen to dwell, and you look up there in the sky and you see those chemtrails blazing up there, why, we in the Illuminati would just suggest that you just relax and breathe deeply.